Your Excellency, Mr. Hwang Kyo-ahn, Prime Minister of the Republic of Korea, Your Excellency, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, Rotary International President, Honorable Mr. K.R. Ravindra, Mr. Ian H.S. Wesley, President nominee of Rotary International and co-chair of the 2016 Rotary International Convention, Honorable Kazuhiko Ozawa, co-chair of 2016 Rotary International Convention, Honorable John Hueko, General Secretary of Rotary International, Honorable Donggan Lee, past President of Rotary International, Honorable Ray Klingsmith, Trustee Chair of the Rotary Foundation of Rotary International, distinguished members of the Rotary International, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for the chance to be part of this dynamic Rotary Club International Convention. I'm inspired to be with so many great supporters of the United Nations. I only wish I had the chance to visit the House of Friendship. What a wonderful tradition to create a place for informal dialogue among friends. Today, I want to speak to you about the invaluable partnership between Rotary International and the United Nations. Our common activities are saving lives, and they are based on a spirit of trust. My main message is simple. Just 4 words. Thank you very much. Thank you. 감사합니다. Rotarians do remarkable work around the world. You help the United Nations reach our goals, and you help the world understand the United Nations. Our two organizations have long, productive history. Rotarians even helped with the founding of the United Nations. They were at the San Francisco conference that gave birth to our organization. 70 years ago this month, former Rotary International President Alan Albert participated in the discussions on forming the United Nations. He was a passionate defender of human rights, human understanding, who called for people to, I quote, be real factors in a real peace, unquote, following the Second World War. Together, we are working to realize this vision. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I have attended many events with Rotarians. We have forged warm personal ties. I will never forget taking part in the centennial in Birmingham and the United Kingdom. We arrived to see the flags of more than 150 countries and the friendly Rotarians in their yellow vest. There was a meaningful sense of purpose in the air. I feel the same sense of excitement today here in Korea, Goyang City. It comes from more than a big gathering. It comes from an important mission. Rotarians are using their time, funds, and energy to help our world. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm especially grateful for your monumental contributions to eradicating polio. The United Nations is proud to be a partner in ending this debilitating disease. When Rotary International launched its campaign in 1985, more than 350,000 children were paralyzed by polio every year. Individual Rotarians have generously contributed an astounding $1.2 billion to the campaign. They have engaged a donor government to secure an additional $6 billion in funds, later $12 billion altogether. And thank you very much for your very valuable, noble contribution. And Rotarians are on the front lines of this fight. They travel to communities, they speak to parents, they spread hope, and they contribute to a safer world for everyone. I congratulate Rotary International for helping reduce polio by 99%. We have just 1% left. We have to do much more to eradicate this polio from the earth. From hundreds of thousands of cases each year, now there are fewer than 2 dozen. Africa is polio-free. Afghanistan and Pakistan are still affected. But we are working hard to help them to stamp out polio. Rotary's Polio Plus program has helped to avert massive sufferings. Some 16 million people who would have been otherwise paralyzed by polio can walk now. Around 1.5 million children are alive today thanks to Polio Plus. I thank you for your such a great contributions. The result in human terms are immeasurable. And in financial terms, the results are enormous. Over the next 20 years, polio eradication will save more than $50 billion. We are all anxiously waiting for case zero. Until that day comes, we have to redouble our efforts. I thank you. I count on your strong efforts and engagement of Rotary International. I have personally, together with my wife, vaccinated children in clinics in Angola, Indonesia, India, Nigeria, and beyond, around the world. I have advocated with the leaders and religious leaders, and I have stood side by side with the friends from Rotary International at anti-polio events around the world. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, our partnership is stronger than polio, but we must keep up the fight. Please continue to raise your voice, hold your governments accountable, and campaign hard until we end this disease. The campaign is difficult, but it can be dangerous. And frontline workers risk their lives to vaccinate children. Others have been killed in the efforts. Let us pay tribute to these anti-polio champions by leaving a polio-free world to future generations. Excellencies, distinguished members of Rotary International, ladies and gentlemen, for many years, Rotary International was represented at the United Nations by a man named Sylvan Barnett. He was a great believer in our organization. He once said, I quote, "The United Nations is the only place in the world where it all comes together," end of quote. Together, global threats do not stop at national borders. That makes the convening power of the United Nations more important than ever before. I count on Rotary International to continue supporting the United Nations. Together, ladies and gentlemen, together we can rise to the challenge of our day and create a better future for all. Thank you for your leadership and commitment, and I wish you all the best. Thank you. 감사합니다.